The movie began with the depiction of a nervous-looking man entering a large, dark, and mysterious temple to worship, a place that appeared to have been deserted for some time. Despite the apparent emptiness, drum beats could be heard coming from an unknown source. As the man looked around in confusion, a titanic god suddenly awoke, revealing that the drum beat was, in fact, the sound of his own heartbeat. The god had now awoken to unleash hell on humanity. Following this opening, the scene shifted to a man named Guan, who was frantically searching for his daughter, Tangerine, inside an ancient mystic cave. The little girl appeared to be screaming from the depths of the cave. All of a sudden, a glowing deity materialized in front of Guan, stopping him from moving any further. He then jolted awake, realizing it was actually a dream. It was then revealed that Guan's daughter, Tangerine, had been kidnapped 6 years prior and had been missing ever since. As a sorrowful father, Guan had become obsessed with finding his daughter at any cost. This obsession had led him to sell his house, abandon his career, and even divorce his wife. The scene then showed Guan sitting alone on the side of a cliff. He noticed a truck on the road and began throwing rocks at it with pinpoint accuracy, even changing the trajectory along the way. The rocks broke the truck's windshield, causing the vehicle to crash nearby. Guan made his way down the cliff and attacked the driver, frantically demanding to know where his daughter was. Suddenly, the driver's accomplice hit Guan in the head with a wrench, knocking him down, while the two men escaped on foot. Shortly after, Guan got up and checked the truck, finding many children locked up and kept in cages. It was then revealed that he had somehow found out about the traffickers and had ambushed their vehicle in hopes of saving his daughter. However, disappointment hit Guan when he did not find his daughter inside. Soon, the cops arrived and arrested Guan, assuming that he was the trafficker. He fell asleep in the back of the cop car and dreamed of Tangerine again. But this time he saw her entangled in black, slimy vines. Upon waking up a while later, he noticed the cop had taken the picture of his daughter out of his pocket. This discovery enraged Guan so much that he broke free and forcefully snatched the picture before escaping. Strangely enough, he found another car on the road waiting for him. Due to the dire circumstances, Guan did not think twice and got inside the car. The driver was a lady named Ling, who happened to know everything about Guan's life, including his daughter's disappearance. She then convinced him to stay, claiming that she could help him find his daughter. The movie then cut back to the ancient setting, where a warrior named Kong was seen running away from attackers led by an old man. Kong eventually found himself surrounded on the edge of a cliff, but just as the tension reached its peak, his sister came to the rescue. She defended Kong and instructed him to go west before pushing him off the cliff for his own safety. After that, she fought off the remaining goons all on her own. Worried for his sister's life, Kong climbed back up the cliff only to find that she had been killed by the old man. The old man was also impaled in the chest, and so Kong took the spear out, intending to kill him. The old man warned Kong that if he killed him, he would never be able to run from someone named Lord Redmayne. Nevertheless, Kong killed the old man and avenged his sister. After the chaos finally ended, Kong was heartbroken and tired of always running from his enemies. Hence, he decided to return to the city and kill his biggest enemy, Lord Redmayne. All of a sudden, the old man's armor started moving. It was in need of a new host, and so it instantly attached itself to Kong. As it turned out, the armor had its own will and wanted to be a part of Kong's mission to kill Lord Redmayne. It fully embedded itself onto his body, and an eyeball appeared on Kong's chest as an indication of the merger. Meanwhile, Ling took Guan into the building where she worked and proceeded to show him pictures of 5 girl toddlers. She asked him if he recognized his daughter, but unfortunately, Guan was unable to do so as it had been a very long time since he last saw her. Ling then stated that they could use a DNA test to find out which one was his daughter, but in exchange, Guan had to be of service to the company. Ling revealed that they knew about his power to control projectiles and wanted him to use it to kill a novel writer named Kong. She then showed and explained Kong's daily live streams, in which he narrated stories written by himself. The peculiar thing, she explained, was that whenever one of the novel's characters named Lord Redmayne got wounded in the story, Ling's company's boss, Li Mu, got hurt in real life. The company had attempted every possible legal strategy to make Kong stop writing the story, but to no avail. Guan found the story hard to believe. but he had no choice but to accept the offer, as it was his only way of locating his daughter, Tangerine. The next day, Guan got a fresh new haircut and traveled to the small town where Kong lived. On his way there, he made the discovery that the things he frequently dreamed about were related to Kong's stories, as he listened to them on his audiobook. Guan followed Kong all day, waiting for the opportune moment to kill him, and eventually ended up inside a library. However, he failed to blend in as there was no one else in the library besides Kong and himself. Suddenly, the writer confronted Guan and asked why he had been following him all day, to which the latter responded by pretending to be a fan of his novels. Hearing this, Kong became ecstatic and asked Guan many questions. But before the protagonist could answer them, he received a call from Ling, prompting him to move to the side and pick it up. She ordered him not to talk with the target and to execute him immediately. However, Guan did not listen to her and continued to follow Kong outside. The two engaged in a conversation again and were almost hit by a car from Ling's company. Guan fled from the scene, but he accidentally left his dream journal there. When Kong looked through it, he was immediately struck with inspiration for a new plot in his most recent book. The movie then cut back to the fictional world where Kong traveled to the city where people were celebrating a festival. The venue for the ceremony had a massive statue of Lord Redmayne, revealing that he was the one being celebrated. Kong was baffled at the number of people when suddenly the statue pointed its arm towards a neighboring village, and they all ran toward it with their weapons. The alive armor explained to a confused Kong that Lord Redmayne was responsible for the destruction of many villages, as he had been manipulating all of his followers to start a war. The neighboring villages also armed themselves for defense, but their attempt was futile as 3 huge fire dragons appeared from the sky and dumped flammable liquid all over their base. Afterward, the ground troops sent fire arrows toward the village, resulting in the entire base going up in flames, making them lose the war. A while later, the village was seen to be in ruins, and as the sun rose, a battle horn was heard, prompting several knights in crimson red to arrive on horses. Kong also noticed the flag and deduced that the knights were Redmayne's disciples. The remaining villagers cowered in fear while the knights set up a curfew in order. The movie cut back to the real world where Guan woke up inside a hotel room and found Ling sitting beside him. She punished him for his absence of mind, as he had not done what he was supposed to. Shortly after, Kong arrived outside the hotel and handed Guan his journal back. He also thanked him for the inspiration he needed to continue his novel. In the next scene, Guan took Kong for a walk, intending to lure him to a secure place so that he could get the job done. They made their way to an abandoned field while Kong talked about how he got into storytelling and writing. It was then revealed that he had started writing exactly 6 years ago, strangely being the same time when Guan had lost his daughter Tangerine. Kong then heard a sweet melody in the distance and jotted down some notes so that he could add them to the story. In the fictional world, Kong found a little girl on the streets trying to revive her dead brother. She was revealed to be none other than Tangerine. Feeling pity, he consoled her and then buried the boy. As the two started chatting, Tangerine revealed that the Crimson Knights would try to kill anyone who left their home after sunset. Then she started to play the flute, which replicated the same tune the novel writer Kong had heard in the real world. This sound attracted the attention of a knight who hunted them down as it was already sunset. Kong eventually decided to swap the girl with a decoy to give her a chance to escape while he stalled the knight. After a while, the knight finally caught up to him and fell for the decoy. As the knight was left stunned, Kong took advantage of the distraction and managed to strike his head armor. The resulting cut in the armor shockingly revealed Guan's face, and he then got ready to kill Kong. But just as he was about to proceed, the little girl showed up and distracted the knight, prompting him to turn toward her. However, this time, the knight malfunctioned for some reason, allowing Kong and Tangerine to escape. Back in reality, Kong wrote all of this down while Guan approached him from behind. Guan had visions of himself chasing down Kong and Tangerine in a fictional world, similar to what Kong had just written in his novel. He proceeded to hurl rocks toward Kong, and one of them landed a fatal hit, knocking him out and sending him into the trenches. Guan approached Kong and prepared to land the final blow whilst singing the lullaby he had made for Tangerine, possibly trying to justify his actions. But right then, Guan heard someone else singing the lullaby and immediately stopped to follow the sound. He found a little boy in the middle of the road singing the lullaby. Then an emotional Guan grabbed the boy, demanding to know how he had learned it. The terrified boy fled the scene, and Guan chased after him as he again had visions of himself in the fictional world, chasing Kong and Tangerine from the view of the Crimson Knight. The boy managed to escape while Guan ended up at a small party. To his shock, he spotted Tangerine's kidnapper along with some of his friends, and a fight ensued. Guan used his powers to defeat the enemies and interrogated the kidnapper. Scared, the latter finally told him the truth about his daughter. It was revealed that 6 years ago, when Tangerine was kidnapped, she was accidentally drugged with a dosage higher than the minimum amount, which eventually led to her death. So the kidnapper had put her in a sack and left her on a mountain to rot. Overwhelmed with pain and grief, Guan tried to strangle the goon to death, but Ling showed up in the nick of time and stopped him. She then knocked him out and carried him to her car. When Guan woke up, he immediately started explaining what the kidnapper had said about Tangerine. Meanwhile, Li Mu talked to Ling via an earpiece and instructed her to convince Guan that his daughter was alive. So she told Guan that the police were taking the kidnapper to jail where he would be properly punished. However, Guan begged her to let him have the kidnapper after he killed Kong, before leaving to plan his next line of approach. Shortly after, Li Mu confronted Ling and scolded her for feeling sorry for Guan and not being able to fully convince him. He then confirmed that the kidnapper was right, but in order to manipulate Guan, they had to use his dead daughter as leverage. In the fictional world, Kong and Tangerine escaped the wrath of the night and came to the city, only to witness the horrible things people were going through because of the war. The two made it to Tangerine's home, and it turned out that her parents had died a while back for disobeying the curfew. As they conversed, they were interrupted by a group of Redmayne followers who rummaged through Tangerine's home before laying their eyes on the two, intending to kill them. Kong immediately stepped up to protect the little girl from the attackers, which his live armor found interesting. In the present world, Kong met with Guan on the rooftop of a building, unaware that he had been attacked by the same man earlier. As he explained his novel, Guan found out that Kong had put him in his story as the character of the Crimson Knight, hence matching the knight's head injury with Guan's when he was fighting the kidnappers. Shocked, Guan snatched the notebook and went through it, only to learn that the visions he had been having also matched the story Kong had written. What shocked him the most was that his daughter Tangerine had been made a character as well. This meant that Kong had created a parallel universe through his novels, and that the content he wrote affected the real people on whom the characters were based. Kong explained that the last chapter had himself and Tangerine surrounded by the angry mob, but he did not know how to defeat them. So Guan came up with an idea that they should win the fight. The movie then cut back to the parallel universe where Kong was about to fight Redmayne's followers. All of a sudden, the armor attached to Kong exited his body and became an entity that could conjure weapons on command. The armor plowed through the angry mob, while Kong also joined in on the fight. Afterward, he learned that he had full control over the armor because it had way too much of his blood. Kong then stabbed the armor in its chest to teach it that he was in charge, making the object promise to never disobey him again. On Earth, Guan called Ling and told her that he had now decided to protect Kong. This was because he wanted to save his daughter in the novel. The two men then made it back to Kong's room, where it was revealed that Kong's father and Li Mu were once business partners before the former died in a tragic accident. Surprisingly, Ling was also eavesdropping on their conversation. She had now come to the conclusion that Li Mu had killed Kong's father and wanted to cover up the story by killing Kong as well. Enraged, Ling called Li Mu, demanding to know the truth, but he confessed nothing and hung up. As a tired Ling returned to her car, she was electrocuted by Li Mu's henchmen and placed in the back. Meanwhile, Guan and Kong headed over to the library where the latter continued to write his novel, while Guan prepared for any enemy forces coming his way. In the parallel universe, Kong and Tangerine made it to Redmayne's palace where they found thousands of immobile Crimson Knights sitting on the floor. Kong then learned that the Knights only moved during the day and that Redmayne had introduced the curfew law so that the public couldn't find out about this. At the same time, Li Mu's goons arrived at the library and Guan engaged in a fight with them. He used his powers to defend himself, but an attacker splashed water on him and used his electrical prowess, forcing Guan to hide in a corner. A while later, Guan thought of a plan and used a rubber glove to kill the attacker. He confronted the goon who had superhuman strength, but was hardly able to overpower him. Fortunately, Ling woke up and broke free from the car, arriving just in time to prevent the attacker from killing Guan. The two then worked together and killed the last man. In the parallel universe, Tangerine and Kong finally reached a room where they met Lord Redmayne, who turned out to be a massive four-armed beast. It was then revealed that Kong was actually the son of Redmayne's brother, whom he had killed a long time ago. This matched directly with reality, as Kong's father was Lie Mu's best friend and had died in an accident. The fictional Kong was furious after finding out that Redmayne killed his father, and so he challenged him to a duel. They went outside where Redmayne showed Kong the tree in which his father was buried underneath. Their fight began, and the live armor separated from Kong's body, ready to give its best. However, the two barely did any damage to the powerful Redmayne. The latter managed to grab the armor and crush it with his bare hands, turning it into dust. Just as Redmayne was about to kill a wounded Kong, he was distracted by Tangerine, who played the lullaby on her flute. She did so because her father had taught her to sing the song whenever she was in trouble, and that he would come to her aid. Redmayne, however, grew frustrated with the tune and captured Tangerine, placing her inside his belly. Back on Earth, it appeared as if a third henchman had broken in and stabbed Kong without anyone knowing. Guan and Ling found him shortly after and took down the goon before rushing him to the hospital. Later, Guan stared at Kong's laptop screen wondering what to do with the novel. He was shocked when Lie Mu suddenly entered the room and explained that he had originally intended for Kong and Guan to die together, making it seem like they had killed each other. It was a perfect plan because the police would have read Kong's novel, which had Tangerine's name on it, making it seem like he was the kidnapper while Guan was a father who wanted revenge. In the final showdown between the two, Lie Mu demanded Kong's computer, but Guan refused to hand it over. The latter then explained that he could complete the story. The movie once again cut to the parallel universe where the Crimson Knight appeared out of nowhere with a machine gun in hand and attacked Redmayne, intending to save his daughter. The gun finally did some damage to the monster, while Kong leaped toward Redmayne and held onto a sword stuck to his forehead. Assuming that it was his weakness, Kong tried to pull the sword out while the Crimson Knight grabbed it and dragged it down Redmayne's body. The plan was successful and the giant monster was finally killed. As a result, Tangerine was freed from his stomach, and the father and daughter finally got to meet in this universe. In the meantime, Ling finished reading what Guan had written while Lie Mu slowly withered away as Redmayne died in the other universe. In the final scene, Guan heard the lullaby again and rushed outside the hospital where he saw the young boy from earlier. Only now he was with a little girl, none other than Tangerine. The movie ended as the Crimson Knight hugged Tangerine ever so tightly. So, what did you think of the movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you in the next video.